So yeah, thanks for coming. Really appreciate taking your time out, and thanks to South Coast Summit. I'm Chirag, Patel. Sessions about obviously working with templates in Microsoft 365. Bit about, I'll probably just skip those slides, but a bit about me is basically I'm a Microsoft 365 consultant. Live and work in the UK, doing SharePoint, Teams for a number of years now, and work in an IT pro capacity. So generally do deployments, migrations, and really kind of work organization to organization to get them started, or at least get them to utilize the out-of-the-box tools without having to customize the environment. So I also organize M365 UK on a monthly basis, and just kind of really, as much as I can, just broadcast all the different sessions about M365. So yeah, techchirag.com is the best way to get to me if you want to connect or ask questions later on or anything like that. But also big thanks to the sponsors, because without them, facilities like this would not be around for us to have a great time. So hopefully you visited the stands. And these days, I don't know if it's me or not, but I don't get that many spam. So they're very good now, in terms of how they send their emails. Some of them I know, some of them they're new vendors. So anyways, that's what it is. So again, you can't really see this slide, but I'll talk through. So this is like, depending on where you are in your journey of using Microsoft 365, whether that's SharePoint for document management, or whether that's just using Teams for getting people together for collaboration, or you might even use Yammer to get that kind of company-wide collaboration activities, getting people involved, kind of all those things. So this is the diagram, which is from Microsoft's, and it kind of is a collaboration architecture, is how they see how as an individual or a department or an organization collaborates. So I'll put the links in the slides, and I will share the slides so you can get to it. And I find this is the one that really sets the scene for any organization, and it gives me an understanding where they are in terms of the maturity and the skill sets of using these apps. So just thought I'd set that scene. And in terms of the actual tools, the templates you get, and again, yeah, there's so much in there as well. So again, keep apologizing, so I will do that. But when you look at M365, and there's obviously that kind of sometimes a misunderstanding or use of terminologies, because some people say Microsoft 365 is all about Word, Excel, PowerPoint apps, and those are your M365 apps. But you've also got the broad range of all the service workloads you have, so SharePoint, Teams, Power Platform, Azure Security. So what I've done is I've kind of put all these things together as a template starters, because most of them are available out of the box. So if you was to create, and I did have a demo on this, I probably won't just go around there, but if you go into your SharePoint site, and if you try and create a new SharePoint site, you will see that you can apply a site template. Some organizations, they lock it down. You have the lookbook.microsoft.com, which is where you had to previously download it, have your app catalog inside SharePoint admin to enable it. You don't need to do that anymore, because all you simply do is create your site script and the design, which is already available in order to have those templates working for you. And the existing ones, things like crisis management or other types of templates, they're already inside SharePoint, so you don't have to worry about that extra coding side of things. But of course, we want to brand it out, we want to customize it, so we want to add our own styles, and that's where you would use site scripts and site designs, two simple commandlets for it in SharePoint Online PowerShell, which is the add SPO script, which is going to define your JSON scripting definitions around what is it you want in your sites, libraries, flows, and I think there are some good examples out in the community, and that's one way of doing it. And then obviously adding your SharePoint site design, which is your add SPO site design, which is going to reference to your script that you've just created. And that's the two commandlets that you can really get started if you're an IT pro, kind of just to get started very quickly. So whether that's team site or communication site, doesn't matter. So you get your templates that way. And that's your major working group when you look at it from a SharePoint perspective, because until you don't know what templates you are, you're just going to be creating lots of ad hoc templates. There are third-party organizations who will sell those solutions, like provisioning those sites, and you can do that, but that's probably a bit way down depending on the technical skill sets. That's one area. The second part is lists, whether that's Microsoft lists or lists inside SharePoint. They're all the same thing because it works within SharePoint. And if you were to create a new list, you've got your standard templates you get from Microsoft anyways, things like help desk or absence and sick management and all those things. But you can also create your own list templates so that your organization can use it. And so for that one, you would use the SPO list design, scripts of the design for it. So again, still defining those attributes in terms of the icon, what's the list that you want to create, what fields, what lookup values, including your existing SharePoint list that you already have. So you can lift that, put it in a script for those PowerShell commandlets, and make it available from an organization-only resource. And that's probably a good way, because sometimes you might just get users to say, well, you know what, if you've got Excel spreadsheet, and that's the easy one to do, right? Put your Excel spreadsheet, it will create a list from that within your SharePoint or Microsoft lists. But that's just another way from SharePoint perspective, the two basic ways. And then you got pages as well, so I won't go into the detail on that one, but you can create your own news templates and project templates, if you like, as a per page within the SharePoint site, and make that available to all your SharePoint sites. Teams is on a different side. With the teams, yes, you can create from scratch or existing templates. You can still do all that PowerShell, but you don't really need to use that, because you can just use out of the Teams Admin Center, define your team templates, use a certain number of channels, tabs, apps, if you like, and some of them don't work anyway, so you've got to try that out, what apps those are. The bit I struggled with, which was the bit I wanted to show you around, was the Powerapps area side of things. Now that's obviously a huge area, and there are a lot of sessions happening here. But as an IT administrator, if I want to go in there, I mean, yes, I've got my usual Powerapps canvas templates, help desk, and again all the dozen odd templates that we know. But I can't really save that as a template and then make it available for my organization. So I might want to pick, let's say, help desk, but maybe add some few specific fields in there, so that's more for my organization, add the colors and all these things. But I can't do that easily, unless if I export that Powerapps and then import it in the new environment or the existing environment. But it's a bit, that one's like So as a result, what happens is, it's a good old cheap labor you do, right? You export that PowerPoint, the Powerapps as a package, and then importing it, and then reconfigure the connections and all that. But if you want to go a step further, then you kind of get into the Azure DevOps, which is kind of more in the development kind of area. At that point, you get into that really coding, and for me, that's the spectrum of where you are with the templates, because that's not something as an IT pro will get into. You want to? So why don't we do that? So yeah, so with the Powerapps, I haven't found a solution. I think some things are in preview. I wouldn't, obviously solutions is not the area for that. So that's the one that's, I find is a bit of a drawback around saving that as a template. So within the Powerapps environment, then you've got your AI builder, which is a premium licensing. So there you've got different tools for templates you can build, whether that's to read a business cards or identity documents, for example. So you've got those templates already available to be able to plug in to your Powerapps applications. And those are good, but they come at a cost of a premium, unfortunately. So that's from that Power Platform perspective. And then there's the minor ones, things like forms, Microsoft Forms. There's no real solution for that template other than you take a copy of your existing form. But what you can do is plug it into a SharePoint site somewhere in order to, as a link for it, to be able to then have all your template links for your forms if you wanted to. And that's probably a good way to at least showcase the sample of forms that organization can make use of. And those I use those ones as a demo with forms. So if I know that there's organization-wide forms, I'll create a demo forms for that and just plug that in SharePoint as a links and with a description. So it's again a very cheap way of adding those templates. Last but not least is PNP samples. So who uses SharePoint PNP or Microsoft 365 pattern and practices? 1, 2, 3. Oh, okay, right. So for those of you, well, great if you are, because I'm a big fan, like everybody else. I think a lot of effort's gone into that, for about people around the world, and really that's a very powerful place because if you're kind of using it all the time. Oh, right. Ready for the next speaker then, isn't it?
When they put the cable in, they've pulled it so far over, it's pulled the port down here. So
as soon as someone steps on it,
it just
disconnects. Right.
Keep that open?
I did trip up on that, but I know it was my fault.
This is going to be my feedback.
see what I mean? The wobbly is now.
Right.
But that's all it was.
All right. Okay.
So just mind yourself on this cable.
Sure. Okay.
I'll try and get it back down as much as I can. Lovely. Right, sorry about that.
Okay, no worries.
That's your work.
Thanks for something.
No worries.
With regards to the PNP scripts, not just your site templates, but you've also got your list templates, your other community like web part samples. So if you're using like SharePoint framework, which I know IT pros will not use that, but it's a good starting point to at least get that in there. Tons of code, tons of templates, and it just works. And yeah, definitely I can't stop recommending enough, but other than to try that out already. So,
you say you're going to share some of these?
yeah, I'll share the slides with the links and everything else. So I even had the PowerShell script, which
Is that we have to have checked in? I forgot to check in. Is that how you know?
No, I'll do it on my blog site and I'll tweet it out and things like that. Yeah. So yeah, again, I won't go into that PowerShell. It's just a couple of lines in there that kind of defines exactly what you define, how you do it, and just run it, and you'll get your templates all that loaded in there. Right, I'm going to stop at that point because I wanted to cover those things, but it's a shame I couldn't do the demos, so I do apologize for that. And yeah, with that, thanks for that. So it's very whistle stop tour of that 20 minutes. I'm doing this session again, but it's going to be an hour long at another conference next month. And that one I know is going to work. It's going to be from my bedroom. So yeah, if you're able to tune in, do that.
What conference is it?
Teams Day online.
Is there a simple way of feeding script, site URL, and it grows everything, create templates for that? Because I've been doing a lot of manual customizations and site, which I need to package and redeploy. So it's going to take space.
So for different SharePoint sites and all those things?
Yes.
Yeah, you can do all that.
You can do that.
Yeah.
Not by scripting every minor item separate.
No, exactly. You fit the URLs in your CSV file, and then have all your settings, for example, like language settings.
Definitions, list content,
Correct.
everything.
Yeah. Great, thanks for coming. Appreciate that. Twitter, yeah. So if you go to Tech Chirag,
I'm already following.
yeah, Tech Chirag, you'll probably find it. Or just say Chirag, SharePoint or whatever. TechChirag.com. It's the website, so that's pretty easy. And so yeah, so you can do a lot more with that PNP, and those are the common scenarios, anyways. But yeah, other than that, thanks. Have a good time, and I think be around for the charity pub quiz we have. I think 7 p.m. So I'm going for a charity that's dear to my heart. But yeah, I think enjoy. Great, thank you.